Yeah, I mean, they've had some lean years leading up to this one, but you've seen progress every year. You've seen this group of seniors in particular, or sorry, this group of really seniors and juniors in particular kind of lead the program to where it is now. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. You look at kind of the steady progress, kind of the stair step progression. And this year they're seeing the fruits of all of that labor. They've been really good. I mean, up around 25 wins for the season, really kind of ran roughshod through that district in 8-2A. So a great season for Coach Arnwine, a great season for the Plow girls. And they've got a couple of girls in the paint that are a lot of fun to watch. This is a team that I think is equipped to make a nice playoff run. It's going to be fun to see if they're able to do that.
They're always tough in the paint. Arnwine's teams are always tough in the paint. They always hit the glass. That's just been a characteristic of Roscoe girls basketball. And here we are yet again. They are, I mean, of course, with McCambridge out there, that's been the case, but that's just been a trait of Plow girl basketball since she started building that program.
Yeah, and one thing I think that is neat about this Roscoe team is they're maybe a little bit deeper than maybe some of the teams that Coach Arnwine's had in the past. I think they've got a lot of girls that can come in and contribute. So while, you know, Shauna McCambridge and Carson Greenwood are kind of their two go-to players, they've got others who are capable of having a big night, which I think takes pressure off of those and really makes them a tough team to defend, which when you talk about what they do defensively, the fact that they can, put that many girls on the floor that can score as well, I think it makes them a dangerous team. So this is a fun team to watch. I think Coach Arnwine's done a great job. This turnaround process has been a lot of fun to watch, and you've just kind of, seen a huge turnaround, not just on the court, but in the stands as well. You've seen a lot of just enthusiasm around this program, and it's cool to see.
Before we jump into this week's show, we need to thank our primary sponsor, Capital Farm Credit, with offices all over Texas, including Stampford and Abilene. Buy your own slice of Texas with Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. All right, and with that, we're going to take a quick look at what's going on this week before we bring on Coach Arnwine from Roscoe. Before we do that, though, I just want to take a look back at last week and what we saw. I did see a couple of interesting ball games. I wanted to talk about the Wall boys. Everson Armstrong from Wall dropping 6 3-pointers on Jim Ned and helping Wall beat the Jim Ned boys, and they hold serve and hold on to first place with that win. That was a great ball game. And then the Jim Ned girls, not only they beat Wall handily that same night, they took on a very good Merkel team that had won 20 games, and they take them on in a weather delayed game on Saturday. I don't know what happened, but I mean, that's a really good Merkel team they played. They beat them by more than 50 points, had them down by as many as 55 in the fourth quarter. That was about as impressive as impressive a performance as I've seen in a girls' game since I've been covering basketball.
Yeah, this Jim Ned team, when they shoot like that, and they've got a lot of girls who can shoot. They have the potential to really run teams out of the building. But that one surprised me. Not that they won, obviously, because Jim Ned's been great this year. But Merkel, when they played them at Merkel, played them within 8 points. It was a really competitive game. So to see them. See Jim Ned go out and beat them by 50. That one kind of was eye popping for me, but that's the kind of team they have when they shoot that way. When there's, led by Claire Graham, who's probably, the top girls player in the area who can really light it up from the outside and score from pretty much anywhere on the court. But they've got several others as well who are really good 3-point shooters. This is probably the best guard group that Coach Cooley's had over there. So this is a really fun Jim Ned team to watch. They've only got the one loss all year to Peaster in a tournament earlier this year. I'm interested to see if this may be that Jim Ned team that can get out of this region again. I think they've got that potential, but obviously you're going to have Peaster there as well at some point probably. But
we say that every year with Jim Ned, and it's because they're always that good.
Mm-hmm.
They're always that good. They're always a regional threat. But there's
always
somebody else around in Region 1.
Yeah, and this region's always so good too. So whatever team out of this region gets out of this is going to be a really, really high quality team. But this Jim Ned team, I think maybe more than any in the past, can really score. In a hurry. This team has some really good shooters, some really dynamic offensive players. So they're going to be fun to watch. And then you mentioned the Wall boys. Everson Armstrong, a guy who's just a matchup problem with really good size and kind of a guards game in a power forward's body. He's a good, tough one to defend. So you got to see a couple of really good players, probably two of our area's top players when you talk about Armstrong on the boys' side and Claire Graham on the girls. But yeah, those are definitely two teams to watch going forward. The Wall boys are hitting their stride at the right time.
All right, and with that, we've got on the boys' side, we've still got another week of action after this. but the girls are fixing to start the playoffs. They're going to be at the tail end of this week. We're going to have some tiebreakers, and then they're going to jump into that playoff bracket next week. So the second season is going to start for them very quickly. And among the teams that I like, it's difficult not to like Jim Ned. From what I saw on Saturday, the really what stands out more than anything else about that team is the full court pressure, the hands everywhere, the pass deflect, a constant pass deflections. And this was a good Merkel team that they beat up. I mean, this is a Merkel team that swept Wall, including went down there and beat Wall at Wall, which is not easy, even when Wall's not having a banner year. And we're competitive against Jim Ned at home. And Jim Ned just chewed him up, and it was mainly with that full court defensive pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this Jim Ned team is you wouldn't know it necessarily by looking at the gap they've got at the top of that district now, but this is a tough district because this is a really good Merkel team, a 20-win team. Wall's always competitive. Ballinger's got a 20-win team this year, and really Jim Ned's run away with that district. They've beaten a lot of these teams. I mean, honestly, other than that game at Merkel, pretty much every game has been a lopsided affair. So this Jim Ned team is really been playing at a very high level all year long.
I'm trying not to fall into the trap of saying, you know what, because I fall into the same trap all the time, almost every year, saying, you know what, this is this Jim Ned team. You got to watch this Jim Ned team. It's one of the best Jim Ned teams I've seen in years. It's because they're always that good. They're always good. And I'm falling into that again. I want to say it. This is one of the best Jim Ned teams I've seen in years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what? They have yet to prove me wrong. They look just absolutely dynamite on Saturday.
And obviously, like I said, that Peaster team is playing really, really well. They're undefeated in District 8-3A, so that's one to watch. Those two teams have already played, and Peaster, really put it on Jim Ned pretty well out that Whataburger tournament. But the thing about this Jim Ned team that I really like is that it plays, like you said, that full court pressure defense. They've got it being guard driven. They really do pressure you defensively, so they force a lot of turnovers. And the thing I really like about this team, so they're playing the same type of defense you expect from a Hunter Cooley team, but I think this one maybe has a little higher ceiling offensively, just with some of the girls they've got. They've got some scorers on that team, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The one thing I worry about a little bit with this Jim Ned team is how they would handle a team with a really good inside presence. This is not one of Hunter Cooley's bigger teams. They don't have a whole lot in the post. It is a very guard driven. They're going to have 4 guards on the court pretty much at all times. So that's the one thing that worries me a little bit once you get to like a regional tournament scenario is do any of these teams have the capability of having one of those girls that you can go inside to over and over again, get Jim Ned in a little bit of foul trouble and those sorts of things. But other than that, this team doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses, and they're showing that in this district. I mean, they're running through good teams right now. And these are, when you talk about Jim Ned, you talk about Wall, even Ballinger and Clyde, you're talking about teams that are probably going to go 2-3 rounds deep in the playoffs, and they're just running roughshod through them. So it's been pretty crazy how good this Jim Ned team is.
Well, Region 1, and this is why I don't want to fall into the trap again with Jim Ned, is just because of Region 1. You've got Peaster, of course, but you've got Shallow Water out there. Shallow Water's 27-2 heading into this week. You've got Idalou. They were 25-6 heading into this week. They are still out there, and a very good Brownfield team is out there as well that entered this week at number 3 in the TABC rankings at 23-3. It's a minefield. And let's not forget Canadian, who is the top ranked team in the state.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Region 1 every year. And that's why I don't think it's necessarily a trap, because Jim Ned is good every year. The problem is there are teams in this region that are even better. And like one team you didn't mention is one team that we see kind of get to that level most years. And this year's team's maybe not quite as strong in Brock, but the Brock girls are coming on all of a sudden too. They're starting to play really good basketball as well. So this region is brutal, but I do think it's going to be fun to see how this Jim Ned team navigates it, because like I said, they can really, really light it up on the offensive end, and they're always strong defensively. But they're one of the teams I think we both are looking forward to you having a big playoff run. And a couple others. I mean, we mentioned we've got Coach Arnwine. I think Roscoe's got a chance to make a run. And one team I think you and I will both be watching that has just improved over the course of the season is the Stephenville girls, who are really coming on strong now as well.
That is another outstanding defensive team in Stephenville. One of the best defensive teams that I've seen this year. Arms all over the place. It's a very long team, typically in man-to-man, and they get out and defend on the perimeter very well. They rebound well, and the nights that they're hitting their shots, that's a very tough team. That's going to be a tough team to get rid of. If they shoot fairly well in the playoffs, that's going to be a tough team to kick out of that bracket.
And obviously they split with Glen Rose, who they share the district lead with, and that's a really good Glen Rose team. So we'll probably get a seeding game between those two for the number one seed. But both those teams I think are really good, and the fact that Stevensville has a win over them tells you kind of the type of quality they have. And speaking of seeding games, we just saw Kahoma on Monday beat Stanton to take the number one seed out of 5-3A. That's a team that's kind of slid under the radar all year long. That 22-win team went 10-1 in that district, including that seeding game. This Kahoma team is going to be one to watch as well.
Yeah, another ball club I think we have to look for a long run from is going to be the Stanford girls. This is about the best Stanford team that I've seen in some time. Entering this week at 29-2. I think underrated by TABC at number 13. I have a difficult time believing there's 12 teams better than that Stanford team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Having seen that Stanford team in person at the EULA tournament, I don't know. There's not a lot not to like about that team. They've got a really good deep rotation, a lot of size. I mean, they've got 3 girls at 6 foot or taller, 2 of which can really play well in the post, and another one that can is kind of a more wing player. So they've got a lot of length on the court, and then they obviously press you and trap you full court with Leilana Applin, who's just a fantastic athlete and a fantastic player. So I like the Stanford team a lot. I mean, you look at what they did. That's another really good district, 10-2A, when you talk about Anson, Cisco, Haskell. I mean, there's a lot of really good basketball being played in that district, and Stanford, kind of like Jim Ned, has kind of run through it pretty comfortably. So I think they're one you got to watch, and probably there are a couple others. I think Anson and Cisco both have a chance to win a few games in the playoffs as well. Those are both good teams as well. And then staying in 2A, one other team I think we have to mention.
That's a brutal district.
It really is. Yeah. And staying in 2A, one other team we have to mention that's now out in Region 4, San Saba, which is ranked in the top 15. They entered this past week at 26-6, the leading district 29-2A, which has a couple other good teams in Harper and Mason. So they're one to watch as well. They're more kind of a defensive team, but they're capable of scoring as well. So
they could make a run. We'll see. San Saba's capable. They could make a run in postseason. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I like about that San Saba team is it will be pretty well tested just from its district schedule. When you talk about Mason, you talk about Harper, and Goldthwaite's kind of a quality team as well. They're kind of a distant fourth there to those three, but that's you really had to work, I guess, in that district race to get where they have gotten. So they're a team I think in Region 4 might make a little bit of noise, but it'll be interesting. I'm probably in 2A most bullish on that Stanford team. I think that Stanford team just is the most complete team I've seen at that level, but I do like the San Saba team as well.
The Big Country has a rich history in girls basketball at the Class 1A level, a rich history. We always have. We've sent several teams to state. Of course, now typically our teams run into Nazareth, which is usually trouble, but we have sent several teams to state in Class 1A. And this year, I think we've got another great shot at it. We've got 5 teams, Big Country teams, ranked in the top 10. Huckabee comes in at number 3. These are the TABC rankings. Robert Lee at 28-2. Pretty at number 5 is 23-4. And then Roscoe Highland at number 8, 24-5. And Hermley, I'll tell you what, Dwayne Hopper has just built a perennial power down there. That is a good team, a great program. They're 25-8 rather, ranked number 9 as that's heading into this week.
Yeah, and those are all teams I think you'd expect deep runs from. And that didn't even include a couple others who I think have a chance is kind of dark horses in their regions as well. When you look at Jayton, which is ranked at number 11, Lingleville at number 17, Westbrook, which was obviously a state qualifier last year, is there as well in that region. They've lost a few more games.
Underrated at number 21, maybe.
Well, the problem with Westbrook is they're in such a tough district, so they're going to finish 3rd in that district, but and then that doesn't even include when you talk about Eula and Cross Plains, which have had really good seasons as well. So we've got a lot of teams in this 1A in that 1A classification that have a chance to really make some noise in the playoffs, and it'll be fun to see just kind of where it all shakes out. We generally, like you said, always have a couple of teams in regional tournaments, and I expect the same to be the case this year.
On the boys' side, Friday night, if I were going to pick what I think is going to be the top game or one game that I'm really watching, I'm watching Winners and Forsan. Winners at Forsan is going to be, I think, a very good matchup. The Blizzards with a chance to lock up that district, but that's going to be a big game for both ball clubs with seeding decided either way.
Yeah, and I got to see the Winters, when they hosted Forsan, a game they won, a really good competitive game. This Winters team's good. They've got a lot of length for a 2A team. But the thing I like about that district is it's been wide open all year long. There's these teams in this district. It's really any night, any one of them can beat the other. So it makes for a really fun district race. And the fact that Winters has gotten on the run it has is pretty impressive, because there's a lot of tough teams in this league. So that'll be a big game Friday. So yeah, it should be fun. I like this Winters team. I like the Forsan team too. Forsan's got a good bunch as well. It's a really deep team, so it should be a fun close out to the district race.
Well, that's always a tough road trip out to the oil patch. That's a tough place to play. It's an enthusiastic crowd. That'll be a big ball game and a fun one to see.
And really playing good ball.
And with that, it's just about time to bring on Roscoe girls basketball coach Shella Arnwine. But before we do that, we need to thank all of our sponsors. First and foremost, Capital Farm Credit, who brings you these Wednesday night podcasts throughout the school year. Also, for the love of the game broadcasting, and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of KLAX 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, KATX 97.7 FM out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is for the love of the game broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. If you are in the market for a vehicle, new or used, give Rob a shout. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Call him up at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Phil Hill of the Abilene Realtors Group, big supporter of local athletics. If you're in the market, give him a shout at 325-669-5153 or visit his website at philhillproperties.com. And with that, it's time to bring on Coach Shella Arnwine, who has done just a fabulous job under the radar, in my opinion, out at Roscoe. It's a typically very physical, great rebounding ball club, and it's been that way ever since she got there.
Yeah, no question. She's done a fantastic job. We've been talking about over the years, because she's had a couple of those young players that you've kind of seen progress through the program. So we've done some features and stuff on them in the past years when they were kind of building to this point. It's been really neat to see them kind of get to the apex now, where they are, a district champion going in as a number one seed. So it's going to be fun talking to her about that process, about this team, about some of the things she's looking forward to as they start getting entering the playoffs. So I'm excited to get her on, and it looks like she is about ready.
And joining us now, Roscoe girls basketball coach Shella Arnwine. Coach, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Coach, you've already topped 20 wins. You've already clinched a district title. Tell us about the keys to the success this year. You've had a great season, a banner season for the Plow girls.
I think a lot of our success has to do with our leadership that we have on our team. We just have an amazing group of girls. It's just one of those dream groups of girls that you could have, that are just super supportive of each other, trust each other, love each other. They work hard. They play during the summer. They play fall ball. It's just an amazing group of girls. So I think that's the key to a lot of what we're doing right now.
And I'm sure with the success has come a lot of enthusiasm just around town. Just have you seen maybe this success maybe impact some of the girls at the lower levels of your program, the junior high? Is it kind of seeing that excitement rise in the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the younger girls really look up to the older girls. They're not only like successful and do all the amazing things that they do on the court, but off the court too. And I think the younger girls look up to them. The younger girls, all the way down to our little dribblers girls, they come to the games. The crowd is loud. Our cheering section is loud. I think it just shows the amazing leadership that our program has from the top, all the way down. The support, it's like a family atmosphere. The girls, it's just one family all the way from elementary all the way to high school. So yeah, absolutely. They totally impact the younger girls, and they're building something. They're paving the way for the future for the younger girls. And that's something that they take a lot of pride in.
Coach, when you took over the program some years back, I recall it was a struggling program that you had inherited. It was sort of like in rebuilding mode. And one of the first building blocks that you were trying to get set, and that foundation was just enthusiasm. You were trying to, I mean, that was the impression that I got. You wanted to get enthusiasm into the program first, and that's where it started. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how it's worked?
Well, I can talk a lot about that process because I have a lot of girls that have graduated and they've come back to come and, see some of the games and just seeing the crowd and the community that's behind the girls. I mean, there's our last game in Miles, like we had to stop the game because, our student section was getting kind of loud and telling them, sit back, relax, a little bit. It was a really close game, but like the support and, we have cards that we show our girls whenever they're going to run their offense because it is so loud and they cannot hear us. So they just look over and see, what set play or whatever offense that we're in. But that is huge. That is like the community is behind us. Our administration is behind us. Our parents are behind us, and it's just it's been a process to get there, but the excitement is there. The excitement all around us, and it's just fun. It's fun every game we go into. It's just an exciting. I know it's going to be an exciting night, whether it's at home or away. Our boys are in the stands. They're cheering. They're loud. They're excited, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, it was a building process. When we started out, there were a few, fans in the stands and everything, but we're getting to the point where it's packed and it's a lot of fun.
And you mentioned the word process, and that's one thing. Just from afar, it's been fun to watch your program grow year after year. You've kind of seen steady improvement one year to the next that's kind of led up to this. Just how much fun as a coach has that been to watch? And you touched on the leadership. How important has it been for those girls to kind of stay the course to get you where y'all are now?
Well, this process has been a journey. There's been a lot of, ups and downs. And I will say that the seniors that we have now, the leadership that we have from our two seniors is tremendous. But it's been, I came in, they took a chance on me. I was an assistant coach to come over, and become the head coach. But I feel like that we've kind of grown together. These girls have been with me, from early on, and we've kind of grown together. And with that process, I mean, it's been a tremendous journey, and it's been an amazing journey. And it's, we have a true family atmosphere all the way from the ground, all the way up. And it's been an amazing journey. And that journey is something that they've had to stick through the, the blood, sweat, and tears. And it hasn't been easy, but the total buy-in that we've had with not just the kids, but the parents, the community, the administration, just everything around it has been tremendous, and it's been fun.
Okay. And we can't talk about your team without talking about that the duo of Shauna McCambridge and Carson Greenwood, two girls that have been really good for you for a long time now, and that who really have kind of complementary skill sets. They do a lot of things that really mesh well together. Just how blessed are you as a coach to have those two do what they do on a nightly basis?
Oh, I can't even tell you how blessed I am. And I love those two girls dearly. They get each other, they see each other, and are on the court. They know their tendencies. They play off of each other. There's so many times that we can call a set play or do whatever, but we always tell our girls, this is just kind of a roadmap. You just play basketball. There's so many times I'll look over and I'll be like, we didn't even call that, and they're just playing off of each other, and they know each other's strengths and know each other's weaknesses, and they complement each other defensively, offensively. And, it's amazing. And they couldn't do that without the other three girls on the court. It's not just, a 2-man show. It's not a 1-man show. It is any night, anybody could have a phenomenal game. And that's what makes it tough. It makes it tough to, to shut down, because you can, if you have 1-star player, you can shut 1-star player down. But when every girl is played together, day in and day out, year round, we didn't lose anybody from last season. And so we've been able to build on all that. And they know if, they dribble a certain way that this person's going to go there. And it's just, it's phenomenal to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch. And as a coach, and I would say I'm kind of a facilitator, just I'm there for them, for their support. And to get to that point in a program, that's pretty big.
Coach, even before McCambridge and Greenwood were in your program, from day one of the personality traits of a Shella Arnwine team is that it would hit the glass. From day one, the Plow Girls always hit the glass when you were on the bench. What do we attribute that to? It's got to be a big point of emphasis with you.
Absolutely. We put a lot of emphasis on defense, and when you have Shauna that's out there, that's going to be up there, rebounding. But when it comes down to it, I mean, they're just going to do whatever it takes, and it starts in practice. I mean, we're at practice at 6 a.m. every morning. I've split up my practices. We have team practice in the morning, and then just basic, during the period and a little bit after school. Our second kind of practice that we have is just straight fundamentals, defense, just doing the little things that count to become a championship team. And slowly and surely we're getting through all of that and working through all of that. And it doesn't matter what I bring to them and what I can plan the toughest practice ever and just be like, oh, it's it's gonna be a tough day for them, and they shine through and they do it, and no complaints. No, they know that they have to put in the work and day in and day out.
All right, Coach, you went to the Anson tournament and you played there, and you played some pretty good ball clubs early on, and especially at the Anson tournament. So how much is that going to help you? What did you learn about yourselves playing those good teams? And will that help you? Will that help you in the postseason?
I think that's definitely going to help us in the postseason. I think we have played some really good teams and some ranked teams, and we've come out on top. I think we had to challenge ourselves. There were several games that we played that in the end it came down to the last shot, and I had to draw up a play, and we did get the last shot off, and it didn't fall. And those things are huge. And in every game that we play, I think even the second round of district, every coach in our district, we have phenomenal coaches in our district. And I watch a lot of film. I study a lot of film. My girls study a lot of film. That's something that we do. We have classroom work. We don't just practice on the court. We're in the classroom and we're watching film, and we're looking at our own stats and comparing our stats, and we set goals for the girls. But I think that even the tough games during the Anson tournament and playing some bigger schools and some really tough schools and some coaches that are really good on making adjustments on the fly, like I was saying, our coaches in our district do. I think we've played some really close games and some, like, even, the second round of district, we're, having to fight to the very end. The girls are able to execute and finish. And I think that's going to be huge. They have confidence in themselves. It's to the point where we're down to the last 2 minutes, and they're looking at me, and I'm drawing it up, and I'm looking up at them, and they're like, we got this. We totally got this, coach.
And obviously, y'all have had a great regular season. We've talked a lot about the things that y'all have accomplished to get to this point, and y'all put yourselves in a really nice position heading into the postseason. Just now, at this point, what are some keys in your mind to making a nice playoff run and kind of transitioning what y'all have done to this point into a strong finish?
I think that the girls have put in the work. Like I was saying, it's not just on the court, but it's off the court in the classroom and studying the game. And I think that everything that we've done this point, I'm not going to say the hay's in the barn, because we're still going to have to make adjustments and everything. But I'm going to say, like, with my phenomenal coaching staff and my, the girls wanting it and willingness to put in the work that needs to be done, with practices, and this is this is not coasting time. They know this, but they know them knowing and understanding that, that they are capable and they're going to play for each other and they love each other. And this group of girls is just, it's just like no other group that I've ever had. They truly love each other on and off the court. And they're not just playing for themselves, they're playing for each other. And it doesn't matter who is on, like I was saying, it doesn't matter who is on the court, and I think the parents are a huge part of that. The parents, they're just not watching their kid and worry about their kid's stats and worried about their kid shining. It is truly every parent that we have in our program. Like, this seems crazy, but they just truly are about the plow girls as a whole, what it takes to win. And like I was saying, it doesn't matter what person is high point, what person has the most rebounds, what person has the most steals or assists, or, it's just as a whole, they're playing for each other, and it means something for them. And even last season, with us, with the COVID and with the ice storm that we had, we played, our bi-district game and won, one night, and then the next day at noon we had to play, the next game, and then we lost, and that meant something to them. And from that point on, they were on a journey and they were on a quest and they were on a mission to make it further on in the playoffs, and they've put in the work. They're truly tremendous and amazing girls, and they don't just want it for themselves. The parents that don't just want it for themselves, they want it for the program and they want it for the girls. And there is truly not a selfish kid on our varsity or in our program, period. It is truly a program mentality and a family mentality. And I think that's going to take us far in the playoffs, having that chemistry and that love for each other. And this is like a coach's dream, the group of girls that we have in our program. So,
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be keeping an eye on you, and good luck in the postseason.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Coach.
And that was Roscoe girls basketball coach Shella Arnwine. I think she's really underrated. I mean, of the girls basketball coaches in the area, if you consider what she started with, rebuilding a program basically from scratch, she's done a fabulous job there. She's, she's done a great job, and she's still kind of off the radar. You don't hear her name thrown around with, the coaches that have done great jobs. I think it's time. I really do.
Yeah. I agree. I think she's done one of the top coaching jobs of any coach in the area this year, and really over the course of several years, because she's taken a very young team and kind of led it year over year to get it to this point. Now you're seeing a lot of those girls that have kind of been leading the program as young players the last several years mature into juniors and seniors, and you're seeing the payoff. I mean, this is a really good basketball team, and it's going to be one that I think is going to be dangerous in the postseason. So, yeah, I agree. I think that Coach Arnwine's done a great job. She's a coach that deserves a lot of credit for the job that she has done in what's really a pretty solid district. It's a very deep district with quality teams. So it's to see her group do what it did in that league is pretty impressive.
And with that, it's just about time to wrap up tonight's Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we've got 3 separate subscription packages here at Big Country Preps. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual 6-month subscription where you knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we've got an annual 12-month subscription where you knock the price down to $3 a month, $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage.
We'd also like to remind you that if you ever see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, those are available for purchase. You can purchase a digital download for just $7. We also have some keepsakes and prints available, so make sure you check those out. But as you're scrolling through the site, you will notice pretty quickly that we take a lot of photos from these games that we're at. It's something we enjoy doing and something we take a lot of pride in here at bigcountrypreps.com.
All big country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.